Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning, everyone. I'm Puan Anita, the president of Miasa. Thank you so much for joining us today via our Facebook Live, our last forum before we break for Hari Raya holidays. Truly looking forward for today's sharing session, getting up close and personal with our amazing line of panelists with our topic today, the recovery journey in mental health, unlock your story. This is a special topic, guys, for so many reasons. Of course, first and foremost, being a person with lived experience, storytelling has a whole transformative power, the power of expression. And I always say we never know whose story will provide that key to unlock our struggles. So hopefully from today's sharing session and discussion, we will get a lot of takeaways, inshallah. And for your information, today's session is actually an opening for our campaign, #UnlockYourStory. And I will share the objective of the campaign and how all of you that are watching can participate and help in amplifying this campaign and message before we end today, inshallah. And today is not only special because it is Mother's Day. I would like to take this opportunity to wish all mothers out there, thank you so much for all your amazing effort, work, help, your, being extraordinary, hardworking moms. Thank you for all that you do for all of us. And to my mom, Puan Karani, thank you, me, for everything. We love you, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you fully for everything. So, without further ado, joining me today, we have an amazing line of panelists, which I have the honor to know and very privileged to call them friends. I'm so proud, guys, of each and every one of you. Thank you so much, Sister Eliza, Aisha, Shahril, and Nasreen, for agreeing to be part of this forum. Thank you so much, guys. So let me first introduce Sister Eliza Kim, which probably she doesn't need much introduction, but for those of you that don't know her, she is an American Thai Islamic influencer and also inspirational speaker currently living in Malaysia. She is also an advocate for the mental health community and unprivileged communities. She is also passionate about Islamic entrepreneurship, professionalism, and character building. And today, she will be sharing with us her story and mental health challenges. And I, for one, am truly looking forward to it. Welcome, Sister Eliza. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. Thank you, Anita. Thank you for having me on this wonderful platform once again. I think this is the first time that I've been a panelist this year, although I've helped you out in other ways as well. So I'm very happy to be here to share.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sister Eliza. All right, our next up is Sister Aisha Nudra. Aisha is a senior campaigner for a global charity organization and was diagnosed with major depressive disorder a couple years ago. She has been actively volunteering at Miasa, being part of our crisis team. And Aisha, you mentioned in your story that you have started opening out with your family and friends, alhamdulillah, and the response has been positive. Can't wait to hear all about it. Thank you so much, Aisha, for joining us. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. And Assalamualaikum, everyone. Can't wait to share and can't wait to listen to Aliza's Kim story, Shahril, and also Nasreen. Thank you, Anita.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much, Aisha. And our third panelist is the only guy, Shahril Zainal. Welcome, Shahril. Shahril is currently working at the Malaysian Health and Travel Council as the head of marketing. Experience. He is very much passionate about spreading mental health awareness, educating others about suicide prevention, and speaking up against stigma, which we like very much. And he wishes to reach out to others while making progress in his recovery journey and to be the hand one can reach out to. Awesome. Thank you very much, Shahril, for agreeing to be part of this panel. How are you today?
Thank you. Assalamualaikum, Anita. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Looking forward for this session. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you, Shahril. And last but not least, we have Sister Nasreen Haji Begi. I'm sure many of you have seen her on our social media, especially during the first MCO conducting our Miasa Stay Fit sessions. Nasreen enjoys dancing. It is an outlet to express herself, and for the longest time, she has kept her story very discreet, but today she has agreed to come with us on board to share her journey with hopes to reduce stigma. So happy to have you on board, Nasreen. Welcome, and how are you?
Assalamualaikum, everyone. Thank you so much. for having me here. It's such an honor, and I'm really nervous, but I'm really looking forward as well.
Okay. I'm not able to see you, Nasreen, somehow. Did I just lose you? Are you here?
Hello?
We can see her. We can see
Oh,
her.
you can see her. Okay,
Yep,
I'm
we
not
can
able
see
to
her.
see you. Okay.
Mm-mm.
Okay, let's go ahead.
Yeah, we can see
Okay.
her.
So I don't know what happened. So to kick it off, for the first round, I will start with Sister Eliza. Sister Eliza, I still remember, talking to you several years ago about your mental health struggles. And, I thought to myself during the time, I hope and pray that one day, you will come out in the open and share your story, because I believe it will definitely help a lot of people. It will reduce a lot of stigma. And, I love hearing you speak, because you're very honest in your sharing, very sincere, and you're not only smart, but it's very relatable when you share, and very, very happy that you have decided to be open about this. Alhamdulillah, very grateful.
Alhamdulillah.
So my question to you is, what changed?
Okay, that's a very good question, because of course a lot of us kind of like keep our stories to ourselves for a long time before we decide to kind of even start to share. And a lot of times that we don't even share with our family first, we start sharing with strangers first or other people first, because it's just, it's just such a personal topic.
It is.
For me, okay, so what changed is that I think I got older is part of it.
Yeah.
And I became more comfortable with myself. I think before this, I was very confused about my condition, because I felt it was very different than how it's explained in a lot of even publications, because I have high functioning depression, and then on top of that CPTSD, which a lot of people, what's high functioning depression and what's this CPTSD thing, and even I didn't really understand it. So I think coming to understand it more, and understanding even that actually some of my condition is genetic, I found that out also. So I felt a little bit more comfortable talking about it, knowing that, oh, maybe my family already kind of understands, maybe, and also maybe the time is right, because alhamdulillah, if I can just mention Miasa now, because of your amazing work and the amazing work of many other mental health organizations that has created a climate, not only in Malaysia, but around the world, where people are more aware and more accepting that, that whole campaign of hashtag it's okay to not be okay, that helps so much, it helps so much. So people are aware, people are more understanding, more compassionate, more open also to understanding that mental health is something that all of us go through at some level. So I think those things combined helped me to speak out more. But not only that, I started to have, I call them my online family. So my online family started to write to me after I started, writing a little bit, just very small things on my social media. But people were coming to me who were cutting themselves, who were in deep depression, suicidal, and these things. And I found out that I was able to connect with them and talk to them more, because I had gone through some of those emotions as well. So I felt validated and empowered to start helping more. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. I think that's really awesome. It also proves that when everyone comes together, we feel braver in that sense. Right? So it must be a collective effort, and doing it alone, it's very challenging to change things, right? So hopefully, all of us coming together today, we can do more, inshallah. Thank you very much, Sister Aliza. Okay, Aisha, over to you. I remember when I, first heard you speak several years ago in one of our circle time sessions or sessions. I was very impressed on how well, because you're really young, on how well you're able to articulate your struggles and the insights that you shared, and also on, feedbacks when people asked questions during the session. However, sharing in a public sphere is totally different. We all know that. There's a lot of judgment, there's stigma on top of everything else. So what gives you that courage, or what motivates you to share, Aisha?
Okay, so Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So I think one of the courage comes from the eagerness to see changes, especially speaking about mental health condition. It's very, a taboo subject. People don't really talk about it, and it is actually scary to talk. But for me, I am more afraid of what my family and friends gonna say. People who knows me, maybe it's, I don't know if it's because I am naturally don't really care about what other people think about me, especially those strangers. But what, yeah, scares me the most is what my family and my friends gonna say. Tapi uh, I started to share my stories in social media platform is because I set my intention to reach out to those who are suffering from mental health condition, that
Mm-hmm.
in hopes that they know that they are not alone and there's still
Yep.
hope. The same way I was able to gain confidence from the experience of others, because I was alone at first during my early in my recovery journey. I was very alone. I was battling the condition alone. So where I you know where I get the confidence is by reading and by looking at someone else's stories. So I want people out there who are alone as well, to be able to resonate with my stories. And if it's only one person, it's fine. At least they know that they're not alone. Yeah. So
Thank you. Thank you.
that's how I
I
get
think that's,
courage to share.
yeah. I think that's a very important point because, even our experience in Miasa, Ganesha, a lot of people do struggle alone.
Yeah.
Um, they don't have a support system, and truly, we only need one person. If we have
Yes.
that one person to help us go through life, it makes so much of a difference. And, I always say, if we don't have that person, why don't we become that person to someone
Yes.
else?
True.
Inshallah. Thank you very much, Aisha. Shahril. Shahril, one thing crosses my mind every time when I think about you. You are one peer with loads of true friends, mashallah, alhamdulillah. Guys, and everyone, every time when Shahril comes for our circle time sessions, he brings someone with him, different friends, and they're all so supportive of him. They all want to help him. It's so amazing, mashallah. And, I'm very privileged to have met some of your friends too. And as we know, having a mental health condition isn't easy. You're a peer with MDD and GAD, generalized anxiety disorder, and being a guy, that's also very highly stigmatized. We talk a lot about, you got to man up, boys don't cry. So there's so much stigma attached to men's mental health. So what really, what's your goal, Shahril? Why do you want to talk about it? What gives you that drive or motivates you?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah. Thank you again, Puan, Anita and Miasa team for the opportunity to be on this platform, share my experience as well as learning from other peers on our recovery journey, inshallah. Thanks to Eliza, Ayesha, and Nasreen as well. First thing first, let me get this straight. Being honest about how we feel doesn't make us weak. It makes us human for both man and woman. You see, what drives me, Kak Nita? Well, you have already mentioned it. The ones who stood by me at my lowest point and never let me forget how special I am. Those people, they are the one who drive me. I owe them my entire thanks for getting me through some very tough times. Thank you for the positive affirmation. Thank you for reminding me that I am loved, reminding me that I still look good, reminding me that happiness will happen soon or someday. They made me believe that I am better than I was and that I will be better than I am. Thank you for listening to me without agendas and not forcing me to be any different than I am. I'm thankful to them as well for being okay with my sadness, for acknowledging my condition, and for not thinking I am any less of a person for being depressed. You see, at my worst, Kak Anita, I always highlighted to them, please be gentle with me. I know, I look the same inside. I look the same outside, but
Outside,
inside,
yeah.
I don't feel like me. Or rather I feel the most uncomfortable. I am made of all doubt and fear. I
Yep.
feel so fragile. I know this is hard for others too, for them, for my support system as well. But please don't withdraw. Please don't give up on me. Those are the conversations that I always mention to them. I can't think of much besides my own pain at that point of time, especially in 2018, the toughest challenges year for me at that point of time. At that point of time, the most devious part of depression, I guess, it's so selfish. The reason why I was acting selfish is because I'm in constant emotional pain at a point of time. I can't stop thinking about how much I hurt because I just hurt so damn much. I always said to them, please know that you don't have to fix me. I know when we see someone we care suffering, we want to stop. We want to stop it and we want to help, right?
Yes.
But I told them you can fix me. I'm not sure even I myself can help me. The only reason I really come to you, to them in this context is because I have learned to trust people, and I don't trust very many. It takes a lot of me to open up and to talk about my actual feelings.
Yep.
With that, thank you for listening. You guys know who you are. I know that being me, especially those days, means a lot nights for them. It means sharing my sadness, my fears, my emotional conditions in full force.
Yep.
I know how draining it is for them. Even when it seems like I'm just talking in cycles, they were making things easier for me.
Mashallah.
Thank you for all the times you could have given up on me, but they didn't, you see. Thank you for encouraging me to get treatment. That's a very important thing because at that point of time, why I question myself, why do I have to get treatment? You see, I'm okay, I'm physically fine. But they, people surrounding me realize that I'm not okay and then advise me to seek for professional treatment. But they are not the professionals, so they know how to facilitate me to get better professional treatment, I would say. For me, I'm starting to see a light, even though I'm not fully cured. A light once I thought I would never find. You remember, Anita, I always ask you in the very beginning, when is this gonna end? When can I get better? Right? So you remember those words, those conversations. So my mental condition is my reality. Now I realize that. Do I still have sad days? Yes. Do I still have days where I find it impossible to get out of bed or even do simple things? Absolutely. But I am learning to cope with my reality, and I am slowly learning to live with this monster called depression and anxiety. I've realized that I haven't been the person I truly am or the person I'm meant to be. I've done and said some terrible things. I've made mistakes. I've been an ugly person. To those I have hurt while I was hurting, I'm sorry. I apologize. I hope you can understand. But to those who have stuck by my side through thick and thin, you mean more to me than you'll ever know. Without your guidance, support, and concern, I may not be here today. Without your determination and love, my mental condition would have won the war.
Yep. Thank you very much, Shahril. I think there's so many points to your answer. Support is truly crucial, and you guys have heard me say this so much, that without support, the recovery of people like us, it's going to be very, very challenging. And that is why a lot of people continuously battle mental health conditions in and out, because of the lack of support, lack of help, lack of understanding, lack of treatment. So it has to be a holistic approach all in all. And it's so interesting when you said, you didn't feel like you. And I think, Shahril and everyone, a lot of people don't realize this, that there's grief involved. The moment you find out that you actually have a mental health disorder, and, you probably go through that denial stage, and then you've got to go through the acceptance stage. And so finally realizing that you're never going to be that normal self that you were before. I really don't like to say this, but obviously with a mental health disorder, there will be limitations, but we need to realize that we can be a better person than we are before. And to me, I really hope that I'm better today. And like I always say, previously I never had empathy, and empathy is one of the greatest gift that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted me. I always say it's a gift, and it has enabled all of us to be able to relate to the hardships, struggles of other people, not just the mental health condition. Alhamdulillah. And of course, Shahril, don't benchmark yourself against another person's recovery. We all have our own time. So that was a very, very good point, Shahril. Thank you very much for sharing. Okay, next up we have Nasreen. Nasreen, I am so truly proud. I know it's not easy coming out, and especially for families to also accept that we are going through a mental health condition. Like what Shahril was explaining, people do feel helpless, and also we want our loved ones to recover fast, but we also need to know that we can't force it. But I just wanted to ask you, I remember meeting you before, and like I mentioned, you were very discreet about your struggles. However, you are with us here today. So I just wanted to maybe ask you, has stigma silenced you? What really happened, Nasreen?
Assalamu alaikum. Again, thank you so much for this platform. This is pretty tough for me to talk about. If you can see my eye bags, I didn't really sleep last night thinking about how today would go. So if you know about bipolar disorder, you go through a psychosis. So the first time I had no idea about mental illness, like I was not aware of it at all. So my first occurrence was from myself. So I had no idea what was going on. I was just a really, really high, like euphoria. And I just felt like on top of the world and kind of like not making sense at all. And it was really embarrassing. And I just felt like I gave a lot of trouble to my family as well. And I lost a lot of friends from that. So it was really hard for me to accept it. So talking about stigma, yes, because I was diagnosed 7 years ago.
Yep.
And 7 years ago was 2014. I feel like in Malaysia, it was not really as accepting as it is right now. And that's why I'm so grateful for Miasa. So when I knew about Miasa, actually my mom knew about Miasa and she told me about it, I was really excited because I felt really
Someone gets it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone gets it, like finally. Because I feel like an alien really, because
Yeah.
I don't know who can relate to this. So when I first went to the circle, we had this circle and I heard so many people having the same story. I was like, wow, I'm pretty normal. Someone has bipolar 2, bipolar 1. And I was like, so stigma, yes. And also growing up, I was really self-conscious. I wanted things to be perfect, even for myself. And I feel like that's a disease. That's a huge disease to want things to be perfect because we are not perfect. And I feel like Allah really humbled me to make me realize like I'm a weak human being and I need help. And for me to realize that really took a long time. So the realization made me change.
Thank you, Nasreen. I've mentioned this a couple of times, and Aisha as well, where our journey with this condition is a journey of humility, right? I was the same. I can totally relate to you, Nasreen. I thought I was invincible. I achieved every goal that I set myself out for, and that's why I say, being a perfectionist is a blessing, but it's also a curse. But yeah, alhamdulillah, Allah didn't forget us. And only through being inflicted with this condition do we really slow down and self-reflect, right? So alhamdulillah, there's so much lessons to be learned. I'm so proud of you and thank you so much for sharing, Nasreen. Yeah, hope you feel a little better.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
say that.
Okay. All right. Going back to Sister Eliza. Okay. As you mentioned, Sister Eliza, you know, there's so many types of mental health disorders. The most common ones, anxiety and depression. And although it is so common, people still don't understand it. But the largest society still doesn't understand it. What more complex PTSD, complex post-traumatic stress disorder. People, you know, not many people even know what PTSD means, you know, what the abbreviation stands for. So maybe you could shed some light with all that are those that are listening, your experience with this condition.
Okay, thank you. So CPTSD, I actually was only diagnosed not too long ago, even though after I was diagnosed and I thought about it, it's like I've had it all along. Like
Yeah.
it made sense. So what is it, first of all? Let's talk about PTSD first. So if you remember, like if you've ever watched a movie where there's a war and then people like soldiers come back from the war and then, you know, they have these flashbacks of the war and they have the panic attacks and that kind of thing. That's actually what PTSD is. So it's one trauma that is triggered by an emotion, a thought, something that, you know, flares up and you remember an event in the war or whatever trauma that you went in, and those emotions flare up again.
Right.
So what CPTSD is, the complex, so it's a little bit more advanced and a step up from that, is that it's when you have multiple traumas. So it could be multiple traumas with one person, an abuser, or it could be multiple traumas in different types of settings, or it could be both. So for me, it was both. So my CPTSD is, before I understood it, was quite severe, and you don't actually remember scenes from the trauma. What you have are flashbacks of emotions.
Okay.
So what does that mean? It means that you're in some situation where there's some kind of pressure, and then all of a sudden you have these strong emotional reactions and you have no idea where it's coming from, but it's familiar and there's a pattern to it, and you feel like, oh no, it's happening again. Why am I always in the same situation? Why am I always going through the same trauma? Why does this always happen to me? So these kinds of thoughts come in. But the thing is that when the emotion flares up, it's so strong that it's as though that trauma just happened. And so when you are frustrated or angry, you're very frustrated, you're very angry. Or when you're feeling hopeless, you're very hopeless, you know? So it's very similar to depression. That's why a lot of times people with CPTSD are diagnosed as depressive instead.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of it is related, but with depression, it's a little bit different. I have depression too, high functioning depression. So that depression is more like a sinking feeling, you know, you go into a deep black hole, but with the CPTSD, it's at the front of your mind and you don't know how to control it. So yeah, so it's not easy. But I found that even though I didn't know what it was, I found ways to cope with it. So I knew that it was something that can be controlled or managed. It's just that when you don't know where it is, you literally feel like your life is out of control, like your mind is out of control. You don't know what the heck is going on inside. It was only after I was diagnosed and I realized that it was a chain of traumas that was controlling me. Then I was able to each time think, okay, I'm feeling this way because of maybe this, and this. And so I found coping mechanisms, or I was taught coping mechanisms for it. And I think we're talking about that later on, but yeah, so that's what CPTSD is. Yeah, it really comes from that string of different traumas that kind of build up over time. And it's that emotional outburst. And I wouldn't say that I don't yell, I'm not violent, it's just inside.
Yeah.
Just inside, you know? So suddenly I'll be frowning, and I'll see my friends have said, yeah, I knew something was wrong, because then you were frowning
Right.
and you couldn't get out of it, but it was like I was fighting with my mind to be like, stop it.
Right.
You know, stop it. So yeah, that's what that is.
Yeah, I know, it can be so catastrophic. It's like your brain's trying to kill you.
Yeah.
Although you know it can't. But yes. You know, Sister Aliza, we get a lot of peers that come to Miasa with PTSD, especially those that have been in war, like you said. And you know, all these flashbacks, getting nightmares, especially, and then they, you know, get up sweating, and then people don't realize how debilitating it can get as well. And so, you know, I'm really looking forward to hear your coping mechanisms that you're currently using to manage it, inshallah.
Inshallah. If I could just mention just very briefly also
Yeah, go ahead.
about high functioning depression, because I think it's
Yes.
not talked about much. So we know the depression. I think Brother Shahril and the others will be talking about their depression. But I just wanted to mention that high functioning depression is so confusing, because you're still this high achiever. Like when I tell people that I have depression, they're like, what? You?
Yeah.
But you're so bubbly. What? You? But you know, you make these videos and you do all these things, and you know, you make all this contents, and I'm like, yeah, that's what the high functioning part is. And it tricks you to think that you're perfectly fine because you're achieving whatever you need to achieve, and you're able to smile and you're able to make everyone else feel great. But then you go home and you're like, what is wrong with my life?
Right.
And you're not functioning at home. I mean, time goes by and you're not showering, you're not eating, you're not brushing your teeth, you've lost interest in everything that you want to do. But once you go out and you have to meet people, or for me, when I turn on my camera, you're on.
Yeah.
You know, so I want people to know that even if you're high functioning, you're someone who can achieve your goals, and you're feeling that sinking feeling of despair whenever you go home, get yourself checked. It could be, it might not be, but it could be. And you don't have to suffer like that alone. Just get yourself checked, and it's okay. You know, you can be someone who is successful and achieve, but you have a condition that also you deserve to address. It's for you. You deserve to feel better, and you deserve to function highly in all aspects of your life. So just wanted to mention that, because it's high functioning depression is very confusing.
Right. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Sister Aliza, for sharing that. You know, one of the things that I struggled with in the beginning with my condition was pretending that I'm normal was the hardest thing to do. And because of that, it would get so tiring, and I would cancel appointments, you know, last minute because of it. And so coming out was really a huge relief for me, even though not everyone understands it, but at least, you know, I can say, look, I'm not well today and I'm not able to come, rather than, you know, canceling on people at the very last minute, which isn't good. But yeah, thank you so much, Sister Eliza. Aisha, so with you living with a major depressive disorder, MDD, you know, we all know having depression isn't easy, you know, especially when you go through your lows. It can be very, very challenging. And a lot of people, you know, ask me a lot, why is this conversation of depression so important? And I think a lot of people don't know this, that one of the symptoms of depression, especially when it's very severe, is having intrusive suicidal thoughts. It can lead to ideation. It can lead you of you know, hopelessness, where you don't see a way out, and unfortunately this is when, you know, suicide happens. So obviously this conversation is very, very important. Aisha, if you may share a little bit of how it is living with depression.
So, okay, what it is like living with depression. So many people think of depression as just a feeling of sadness or feeling down, but it's actually a lot more than that.
Yep.
So, so what it is like living with depression, to me, it is that intense, strong and difficult emotions.
Yep.
You know, you feel trapped you feel lonely, like how Sister Aliza said just now. You feel like you are in a deep hole or a tunnel that there's no end, there's no light, and it is just a complete darkness, and it's just the utter hopelessness that you're feeling, and that is actually very, very true, you know. And sometimes also sometimes constant feeling of being numb.
Yeah.
I think so far that's the worst. I think that's the worst because you know, being numb to emotions, to life. You wake up in the morning just to go to sleep again. So you find yourself forcing laughters. You know, like when you are out with your friends or families that you're supposed to having fun. You know, but you just don't feel anything, you know. Or when you see sad stories, you just can't, oh, it's sad, but you know, it just doesn't feel it in your heart, in yourself.
Yeah.
So you see, it is not necessarily feeling sad. So yeah, it's physically alive, but your emotions are lifeless. So I think the word here is hopelessness, because and feeling nothing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
That's
how living with depression is for me. Yeah.
that's the worst feeling of all, not feeling anything.
Yeah.
Can Aisha? Yep. Thank you so much, Aisha, for that insight. Hope we, have a little glimpse of what it is living with depression. Shahril, although you yourself also struggle with depression, you also have anxiety. To me, you always, you portray yourself, you carry yourself as this very, happy and jovial person. To be honest, I rarely see you, depressed, right? And you're also very positive. Macam tak nak susahkan orang lain. And when I met your colleagues a couple years ago at your office, and they mentioned how different you were before you had the condition, which really surprised me, because how much more positive can you be? Now you're so positive already to me. And I have to say, there's so many lessons that we can take from this journey. There's so much that we can learn. And so for you, how would you say this diagnosis has changed you? Because your friend says, tell me that you've changed. But for you, how has this diagnosis changed you?
Well, it's definitely changed me a lot, Anita, to be honest. The world has given me so much. Some of it I'm grateful for, and some of it breaks my heart just to think about it. You see, it has given me some of the kindest souls, such as my wife, such as, of course, my siblings, my sister, my beloved sister, and my brother, and a few of my good friends, my small good friends. And it also has given me a toxic people. You see, it has given me happiness through my entire body, and has also given me pain and heartbreak just the same. You see, every step I have taken in the past few years has been a step away from pain, a step closer to feeling better.
Alhamdulillah.
Closer to my creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I suppose healing has become lifestyle for me. But I guess you never really become expert at pain. One thing I have learned is this: don't control the tears, even for men. Okay, they are there for a reason.
Yes.
They were sent to heal you. To help you. Cry, because that's how we heal. Cry at tahajjud, especially when you are with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I know that that is the only reason I am still walking around, until today. We all know that wounding and trauma isn't fun, Anita. You can deepen your relationship with yourself if you are not tested and tired. There's no story to tell if you walk an unwounded life. Our story is what connects us to ourselves, of course, and to others as well, who need our story, our resiliency, our vulnerability, and our growth, so that they can also learn, they can also feel that they are not alone.
Right.
You
And
know,
take
it's
lessons
not,
from it, right?
exactly. It's not meant to be easy, of course. You know, it's meant to be courageous and brave.
Right.
You know, today this lockdown has given me lots of time for self-reflection. You know, my pace of life is slower now. I know not everyone is as lucky. Most of my mind is taken up with thinking about the pandemic and its impact. Only the important things are important now, and the small things aren't anymore. So I'm trying to compartmentalize my thinking, you know, my thinking management, I would say. You know, often during this catastrophe, you know, we tend to think that we are the only ones who are going through a hard time. You know, this is because the pain can be consuming, and it's hard to think that someone else would understand what we feel. You know, we are human, can? So our issues and troubles start growing so tremendously that we never ponder on the people who are dealing with something greater. So I think, you know, with all this pandemic, COVID and all that, it's time for us to reflect and take a step back. And then that's where we also learn that, you know, we have to help each other. You know, it's not just us, it's also everyone else also struggling or also facing the same challenge, you know, that Allah has taught me so many different lessons in life, Anita. He taught me not to rely on his creation and rely solely on him. He taught me to be content with what I have and pray to him for what I sincerely need. Most importantly, I guess, he taught me to walk away from anything that is toxic for my well-being, as hard as it may be. Wallahu alam.
Betul. Thank you very much, Shahril. It's truly, you know, a test of patience kan sebenarnya. You know, like you were saying, always constantly asking, when will this end? When will this pain end? Kan Shahril, you know, this is your FAQ all the time, because truly it is a test of patience. You know, I was the same. You know, always asking Allah to remove my pain, you know, making it easier, but forgetting that, you know, we should be asking Allah for patience, asking him for a way out, because he will surely and surely grant it. Kan? Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much, Shahril. Okay, Nasreen, you know, being an individual with, you know, bipolar disorder, although at Miasa, you know, we have so many peers with, you know, either bipolar 1, 2, and it has its own set of challenges. It's not easy, constantly going through highs and lows. But how has it been for you living with this condition?
Well, as you said, the highs and lows are really challenging. And to keep that balance is what I'm trying to achieve right now. And sometimes it's really hard for people to understand as well, because first people see me as like okay the day before, and then the next day I'm totally down. So even for me, I'm still struggling to understand myself as well. So that high and low and keeping a balanced thing, I'm still trying to find that middle ground.
Yeah, so for you, I think it's very common for people with, you know, bipolar disorder to feel that way. Because when you're high, there's so much energy and you really need to channel it all out. You know, one peer really shared this during circle time, which I thought was so good, that she said she feels very safe because she has this support system, you know, her friends and family whom she trusts, that will tell her if she goes too high and if she dips too low. And I feel that this is so important, to have people that we trust, that we can rely on when we are in deep crisis. So again, you know, support system so important. And you know, Miasa hopefully is an extended family for those that are struggling. Hopefully, you know, everyone finds you know, comfort, especially being in a peer support group, inshallah. Thank you very much, Nasreen. Okay, Aliza, back to you. What continues to be some of your greater challenges, Eliza, having this condition? What would you say?
For CPTSD, I think it's still the emotional flashbacks. Alhamdulillah, I mean, I've made some incredible steps forward, so it's not so bad as it was before.
Yeah.
But still those emotional flashbacks, and it really becomes like a vacuum, you know, like you'll start on like you'll start thinking about something, and then basically for 20 minutes I've got my eyebrows furrowed and thinking about it, and at some point, alhamdulillah, Allah triggers me to come out. It's like, wait, how long was that? That was a long time in that vacuum,
Right.
you know, and I've lost that time. So those emotional flashbacks, definitely. And I mean, the emotional flashbacks, they're not fun, you know. It's like what Sister Nasreen and Sister Aisha and Brother Shahril all spoke about, that, you know, those highs and lows, you know, and it's hard to get out of them. And I know that in depression, it's like, it's confusing because you don't even know where it's coming from. With the CPTSD, I kind of know what it's coming from, but I still can't squash it.
Yeah.
So that those flashbacks, and even when I know what triggers it, is still hard, you know.
It's like reliving the trauma as well.
Yeah,
right?
definitely. It's like a movie that replays in your head,
Right.
but
Right.
since mine is the complex one and I don't know exactly which one it's coming from, it's like, it's just the feeling that's replaying. So it's hard to put my thumb on it, but that one is still a struggle. But even understanding the high functioning depression is still a struggle, because I don't know, oh, am I feeling okay today? It seems like I'm feeling okay today. I could do everything today. But there's this nagging feeling in the back. It's like those you know, voices of, you're still not good enough, you know, what you did is not good enough, you're not smart enough, you know. It's like back there, it's there, but it's like in front, it's like, but I did all these things today, I think I'm okay. And then after that, even you're like, I feel guilty for being okay. Is it okay that I'm okay?
I know.
I don't know if it's okay if I'm okay today.
I know. That in itself is depressing.
Yeah, because you're guilty about feeling okay, then you're guilty for feeling guilty that you're okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh.
And it's that vicious loop, and if you can't break it, it keeps on, it hooks and it hooks, you see?
Yeah. So that still plagues me as well. Alhamdulillah, not every day as it used to, alhamdulillah, but it comes and goes. And I think most of us know in this forum anyway, and letting you guys know out there, that depression is something that you manage. I can't say that there's a cure for it, but it's definitely something that can be managed. So it's something that you're going to struggle with for, I don't know how long. For some people, it's a definite time, because there's different types of depression, right? But for most of us, it's a long time. For me, I already know that it's a lifetime journey for me.
It is.
So you wanted to say something? Anita?
Yeah, you know, a mental health condition is a lifelong condition, you know, unless, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes it away from you. But if not, it's a prolonged condition. Like you said, you know, we've got to learn how to manage it, and we can manage it.
Yeah. So that's still that remuneration, that recycling of thoughts. That's still the thing that I struggle with most. Alhamdulillah, the sadness and the despair, alhamdulillah, most of that I've come out of and know exactly what it feels like when it's coming up. Because I've had this, I was diagnosed for the first time in my 20s, but it was in my teens that I had pre-depression, like mid-teens. So I've had this for so long, so that I know, and I think a lot of us will know eventually, that when it starts to creep up, I can feel it creeping up. It's like that ugly black slug is creeping up my, you know, my chest. And so I'll know, okay, now I have to go do something, you know? It used to be long drives to see the ocean. Well, I was in Thailand. I can't do that in Malaysia, but that's what I used to do when I lived in Thailand. Now I have other things that I have to do, but you can feel it. With the CPTSD, not so much. It comes, and then it goes, and it's like, what was that? But definitely you learn to kind of feel when it's coming.
Oh yeah, I
yeah.
hate it when it comes. You feel it creeping in. You know it's coming, and you want to just stop it from coming. Exactly. You want to smash it, right?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
But
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. So that's what I'm still struggling with. But alhamdulillah, it's a journey. Alhamdulillah, I can laugh about it now. But yeah, it's still a journey.
Right. Alhamdulillah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sister Eliza. Aisha, I just wanted to ask you, are there any telltale signs that you can probably share with everyone that might warn you or flag you that you might dip, like what we were just talking about, it's coming yet, right? It's creeping in, but maybe you can share it with the rest, and what continues to be your challenge as well with having this condition.
Okay, so I think one of the signs that I usually had to deal with is not being able to challenge my intrusive thoughts. So it's been like a few years now. So I kind of learned to manage those intrusive thoughts. Bila dia datang tu macam, oh, okay, this is coming. So sometimes I can manage it, sometimes I can challenge it back. Tapi I will always try my best to challenge them, but it will come to a point where I just like lost all the skills to do it. Like I kind of forget everything. So and that is when I know if that I don't stop, if I don't take a break or go easy on myself, it's just gonna get worse.
Right.
So, another sign is that I get easily irritated with small things. Like even when people are talking just right beside me, I think, can you just shut up? Things like that. Or suddenly if there's loud sound and I just lose it. And sometimes the signs can also be very obvious. Like when I started to feel hard falling asleep, or as simple as the food I'm eating is tasteless.
Yeah.
And I start to feel I don't feel like eating. So what do I do when this signs is like creeping in? I usually will distance myself, because I hate feeling irritated, because I would be triggered by small things sometimes that it's really ridiculous if we think about it again, and I kind of feel bad for people around me that have to deal with it. So it's best to be alone. So, I will take some time for myself, at least until I can tolerate better. Or benda paling best tidur lah. The ultimate escape. So
is the escapism.
Yes, and I will also go and get a proper meal. Apa yang I terasa nak makan, bila dah tak ada rasa nak makan tu, I will try my best to get the food that I want. That sometimes result in 50 ringgit per meal. Tapi I just don't care as long as I eat something. Sebab when you don't eat, you won't have energy. So being depressed, you memang dah tak ada energy. So bila tak makan, it's just gonna make things worse. So yeah.
That's actually a very good point. Oh, sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
It's okay.
No, I think this is a good point, because a lot of people that don't understand mental health condition, you would usually say you're lazy, get up, try to be productive and all that. But people don't know we feel so extremely tired. You cannot imagine the how exhausted we feel, and I think that this is something that we really need to educate people on. I think that's one of the bigger stigmas as well. People thinking that people with mental health condition are lazy, other than being crazy or violent and dangerous. Yeah.
So back to your question about what continues to be
Your
challenge
struggle.
with this condition. Yeah. So I think for me the most challenging part is the intrusive thoughts. Though I've learned a lot of ways to challenge or manage them. If it gets out of hand, it's just out of hand. So no matter how hard I try to control it, but just it's just there. So these thoughts, these intrusive thoughts will often lead to hopelessness that will eventually brings me to other symptoms, such as feeling low, excessive sleep as a way of escape, or probably I won't be sleeping at all. And also losing my appetite. So yeah, the starting is the intrusive thoughts. Yeah.
Betul. I think it takes a lot of practice as well, Aisha. Yeah. So inshallah, slowly but surely.
Yeah, I came a long way lah. Daripada dulu.
Yes, definitely.
I memang terus pub tak tahu nak buat apa dah.
Betul,
Sekarang ni
betul.
I know how to manage sikit-sikit. So macam okay.
Very good, very good. Thank you very much, Aisha. Okay, back to you, Shahril. Shahril, I remember an episode that happened, I think was it a couple years ago, which landed you in the hospital. And I remember your friends trying to contact me. I think it was 12 midnight or 1 in the morning, and my phone was silent and I didn't get back to them. And I was so worried when I got up. And I know you were going through a very difficult time and during the time. Hence, I would also want to ask you, what would you say are, some of the greater challenges that you face, or you find it hard living with this condition, and why?
It was December 22nd, 2018, Anita.
Oh my God, mashallah, you remember the date?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
the exact date, right? Yeah.
So about 3 years ago. Wow, time flies. Okay.
Yeah, kind of time flies, yeah. So, well, I guess depression made me want to give all up. Anxiety made me start thinking about ways to make it happen. So I had an overwhelming obsessive hatred and anger, which I know it was not healthy. I was drowning by negative images, thoughts in my head, and it scares me that they will never fade. Masa tu, it makes me so anxious. I feel panic of being around people, and I feel panic being alone. Ironically, every morning I wake up overwhelmed with grief that it is still real and I can't breathe sometimes. If I was disconnected, I don't feel alive. I just feel like I want to run away. I broke down in the morning, during lunch, at night, on the street, in my room, at the train station. For a couple of months in 2018, I couldn't drive, by the way, a few months. So I took public transport and all that. So, I broke down at the train station, to my friends, to my siblings, and even to my boss, for God's sake. I was a disaster, but sometimes people say suicide is the most selfish act you can commit. But for many that battle with the darkness, dying seems like the most selfless things to do. Depression often carries an intense and shameful sense of self-hatred. In those periods, I believe I was toxic and harmful to those close to me at that point of time. Yeah, I was certain taking my own life would be a blessing to others. That's how the mind was make me confused. When you're dealing with mental condition, the constant battle can become too much. I don't think of myself as a strong person. I mess myself up to the extent that I still carry the scars. My arms is a sign of the worst part of my life. The disease lies, Anita. When healing doesn't come, it's easy to believe that God has left.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Stepping out of the hospital at that time, having received counseling, final checkup of my test result, the world looked so much wonderful or colorful. I could hardly believe what I had just been through at that point.
Yep.
It was madness, I know, but since that day, I have gained some important understanding from it. I have to let go of the past and my need for perfectionism, as well as my certainty about how things should be in this world. Have to let go. I have to develop greater empathy and understanding, because I've been there in the hospital, in the psychiatrist ward, so I've been engaging with the other patients and all that, right? So yeah, I have become less judgmental, less sure of my opinions, and more open to others. I am little less on myself too, I guess. So I have also learned the importance of friendship. I now have a very small circle of friends, good friends, I would say. Alhamdulillah, I'm very, very grateful. I have discovered that I have so much to give, that I can be of service to others, and that life can be kind to me. Out of darkness, despair has come a profound empathy for other people, and a tremendous love of humanity. I believe so.
Betul.
I remember that although you know, we are in pain, or you are, whoever listen to this, you are in pain, you are not the only one. Do not let your thoughts run your life. Well, of course, this is easy to say than done. I totally understand. I know it feels like they own you, but you have the power to take back your life and own your thoughts. I believe so. And I believe, I mean, the rest of us, the panels are also, you know, in this, you know, maybe they are not enough words or not the right words for me, you know, maybe nothing I can say make you change your mind. I hope you take my words to heart and understand that I have felt your pain, and not just for a few days or weeks or occasion. You know, I may not understand why you feel certain ways, or why I feel certain ways, why when I have this kind of mental health condition, but I'm willing to say without any guilt or resentment that I owned it. I live with it, and I am responsible for having it in my life. Wallahu alam.
Betul, Shahril, that's a very, very good point. I think Nasreen has said this before as well. We got to take our power back, right? Don't let it consume you. Don't let it own you. I mean, you know, there's always hope. And, you know, Shahril, thank you very much for sharing that journey, you know, at the hospital and all that, because when we're in that situation, kan, it's as if our thought process is closed. Kita dah tak boleh fikir dah sebenarnya, and that is why we need the help. That is why we need someone to just come up and say, I'm here, you know, tell me all about it, you know. So this is why, you know, those of you that are watching, that please don't think that you can't make a difference, because you can. Just by giving a smile, just by giving a listening ear, just by ensuring or letting the person know that you're there and you're not going away. I think it's so important. Thank you very much, Shahril, for sharing that. Nasreen, I think my question to you for this round is the same as Shahril. You know, what are maybe some of the challenges or greater challenges that you face with this condition?
So the greater challenges that I face, I think with every other mental disorder, sustaining relationships, just like Shahril said, now he has a smaller circle, but they're more quality circle.
Yeah.
But the process of actually losing relationships, those are very painful. And it's because like you don't know what to say. Like you can't explain to them because not everyone has a capacity to understand mental health.
Definitely.
Unless you are truly compassionate and are willing to understand, or you've actually been through it yourself.
Exactly.
So that is one of the most challenging for me to sustain relationships. But alhamdulillah, lots of good things happen from it. I realize who are the true ones and who are really there for me. So I'm very grateful for them.
Right. It's like this filtration process, right?
Exactly.
Like filters it out for you because you're not able to do it yourself, kind of thing.
Yeah. It's
Thank
like
you.
a forced filtration.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nasreen, for sharing that. Oh, I can't believe it's 12 o'clock already. So much more to ask. Sister Eliza, back to you.
Keep going. Just keep
yes,
going.
Yes.
Ignore the time.
Okay. Yes. Sister Eliza, if you may share, you know, you've shared your story, but we really want to know what has helped you in this journey to recovery, to your recovery.
Yeah, so I actually noted down a few things, and there's, you know, like what Brother Shahril was saying, was that sometimes it's just those people, you know, and it could just be one person. For me, recently, it was just one person that decided to not give advice. You know, when people learn about your condition, they tend to give advice. Oh, but you know, maybe you should exercise. Oh, maybe
do this, do that.
Yeah, do this, do that. Oh, but you have so much going on in your life that's so much better than other people. So these kinds of comments, even though they sound like you're being empathetic and it sounds like you're trying to cheer someone up, but actually what it's doing is invalidating the emotions and the conditions that's going on inside. Definitely. So and then the person that's being invalidated, you get so confused. So it's am I not? It's not okay to not be okay. Am I going crazy? What's going on inside? So it just took one person actually to just sit and listen, and just be there.
Yes.
And say, it must be so hard for you.
Yes.
And it was just those small words, it must be so hard for you. And I remember crying and crying and crying, be like, this person validated that I have
Yes.
this. And it was just that.
Oh my God, mashallah, that's such a beautiful point, because that's how I feel when someone just says to me, what you're feeling is valid. That's it. It shifts everything. Oh my God, mashallah.
Because you can't see this pain, right?
Exactly.
You can't, and you can hardly explain it. So
Right.
hard to explain.
Very
right?
difficult. Right.
So when someone is just there to be there with you and just understand, and if you want to talk, you talk. If you don't want to talk, they're just there. Wow, that is such a blessing. So that's one. And of course, the friends and the others who, you know, were able to just ignore the doom and gloom. You know, when they're just able to ignore that for you and just still, you know, see you as the person that they remember or the person that they believe you can become.
Right.
Oh, that really helps a lot too. And then another thing I wanted to mention, and this is more recent, I think, and this has given me a lot of hope, is that what's helping me now, and I think because I can manage a whole bunch of it now and I'm starting to help others with it, is really learning about the mental health tradition in Islam. And also the lost Islamic history in mental health.
Yes.
That has been helping me a lot because, you know, I can see, you know, how Allah helped our Prophet ﷺ when he was going through periods where he was having mental health challenges, or, you know, learning about the history in Al-Andalus, how some of those early scientists, forerunners who were looking into psychotherapy and aromatherapy. And did you know that like the first institution or the first ward was in Andalusia, you know, it was by the Muslims and it was in the middle of town. It wasn't hidden away because they believed that being in the middle of town, not only people can visit you so they can get those rewards, but so you can have those social interactions to learn how to be in a community, you know. So these things that are so beautiful about our Islamic history that has to do with mental health is helping me a lot, and helping me to also, when I'm invited to speak about mental health, I remind people about this lost Islamic history of ours, because we need to bring it back. We were the forerunners, and we knew how to do it so beautifully, you know, but now it's lost. It's become like what you always say, it's become just a medical kind of thing, where that's not it. Mental health is it's all around us. It's with us every day. It's a holistic thing. So we have to be reminded about those things. So yeah, so that's a part of what's helped me in the past and what's helping me now. But if I just can just add a little bit, it's not so related, but I just wanted to piggyback on something that everyone was talking about in terms of suicidal thoughts and suicide, because I think there might be people listening in who maybe they're not peers, but they're trying to understand what is this all about. I just wanted to share real quick to piggyback on the last talk, or the last question, is that yes, the suicidal thoughts, they take time. You know, it's what you think it is. You know, you think about it and you think about it and then it progresses. But the actual action, you know, because people are asked, you know, in my culture, Thai culture, you know, we think that it's a moment of insanity or it's just being stupid, you know, but actually that when you take that action, it's almost like a sneeze. It's like, it has to happen. You know, it's been building up, like you can feel the sneeze coming, right? It's coming and it explodes. And when someone actually takes action, it's because of you think you can't hold it back. You think that it has to happen. So please understand that part, that the person that takes action, you can't put blame on them because it really feels like it has to happen. So just, you know, hopefully with this understanding, you can choose words that are more appropriate to say to someone who is having these thoughts or has taken action before of any kind of self-harm. Just keep it in mind that it's not something that they can control. I just wanted to make that distinction.
Right, and that's why we have to help.
Yes.
Thank you, Sister Eliza, for that very good point. Okay, moving on. Since we don't have much time here, Aisha, same question. What has helped you in your recovery journey? What has helped you in, managing your depression or depressive episodes?
Okay. So I think banyak yang all the parents have said support daripada family and friends. Alhamdulillah. Macam yang sebelum ni, like you know my story Kak Anita, sebelum ni memang I seorang, I alone because I don't speak about it. So when I started to speak about it, people in my life, they sikit-sikit orang belajar. So support from them has actually helped me a lot in fighting this depression. And I think another thing is yang banyak bantu I untuk terus fight is the survival story of others with similar experience. Sebab bila depressed, like I said just now, is the hopelessness. So we usually, when we are in that phase, we don't believe that it will go away, So these stories, they act as reminders. And another main thing before anything else is, I think, janji Tuhan. So by building the best relationship with him has actually saved me a lot of times. Perasaan yang we develop that he is greater than our condition and more than the hopelessness that he can actually live it off in just 1 second. But it is the journey lah. It's not that I cakap daripada awal first I kena depressed tu I rasa macam oh God will help. No, masa tu memang tak rasa. And then lama-lama, it's a journey to know myself, to know him. And I'm not the best Muslim, so there's a lot of times when I drift away from him. But alhamdulillah, with this, dia macam bawa balik I kepada Tuhan. So yeah.
Betul.
And I also believe that sorry.
No, go ahead.
So and I also believe that all the survival stories that I read or heard is actually a way of him to ease my heart and reminding me that there's a way out. So, and also Miasa and you, Anita, actually plays a huge role in my recovery journey. I think it's part of God's gift for me as well. So thank you for providing a sense of belonging here. And Miasa honestly is basically a safe space for me. I love going to clubhouse, duduk buat kerja, and it feels very safe for me. And I am braver every day because I know that I'm not alone in this journey. So yeah.
Alhamdulillah, very, very important point. Yes, we are not alone. We never were in the beginning anyway, right? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is closer to us than our jugular vein. Very, very important. I always remind myself this as well. Aisha, it's so interesting when you share this part because I remember one of my very first sessions with my psychiatrist where I was complaining so much, obviously, because I was going through so much pain, and he told me, Anita, you have to remember that a spiritual journey is an individual journey, and I really hold on to that. That really gave me a lot of hope, and although I didn't understand it in the beginning, but eventually I did, and it's absolutely true. When you have this condition, everyone can come in to support you, but ultimately it is you. It's you, and with the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course. Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much, Aisha, for pointing that out. Okay, Shahril, same question as well. It's so interesting listening to all your stories, but we all want to know, because we need to provide a way out. Our forums discussions is always about providing a message of hope to other people. Kan, Shahril? So what would you say, Shahril? What has helped you in your recovery journey?
I guess you yourself, Sis Eliza, and even Sis Ayesha have covered as well. You see, and I think I want to take your point, your spiritual journey. That will be my first, Anita, from someone that don't have a very good knowledge of our religious and all that. So now I've changed to be a better person. So that alhamdulillah, that is my number one. And I guess the second one would be my support system, my great, marvelous, wonderful support system. you know this, I don't want to mention this. There's a few people that I really appreciate, by supporting me through my recovery journey, I would say. And of course, the third, or I guess the last one for me is the knowledge of mental health generically. You know, this is where I learned a lot from Miasa, I would say. You know, it goes back to Miasa, but without, I mean, to tell you the truth, honestly, you know, if let's say I didn't came across Miasa, thank God to my beloved friend. She was the one who recommended me to seek and to go and explore, you know, what Miasa has to offer at that point in 2018 back then. So, you know, I think Miasa broadened my understanding of mental health and the struggle that are brought on not just as patient, but as a caregiver juga, you know, what it entails for them, the financial stress, the emotional burdens, because, you know, the caregiver pun, they have their own struggles, you know, to handle all these patients, you know, their loved ones and all that. So that really opened my mind. It is also a platform that lets the caregivers meet and support each other, you know, which is I'm so grateful to have. I mean, Miasa has this kind of services or this kind of platforms, you know, the sharing of their caregiving journey, let them relieve caregiving stress and emotional burden, you know. So for me, my point is, it's not just about the patient. Of course, Miasa solely, I mean, primarily is the patient. And of course, we are also looking after the caregivers that has put a lot of effort to help them in their recovery journey, you know. Miasa provides a support networks, and that itself is so powerful. Alhamdulillah, you know, mashallah. So it also provides education about, you know, mental health issues, such as what mental health condition is and is not, how can we help our loved ones, how can we improve our caregivers and their loved one quality of life. That's very important, I believe. So that's what has helped me during, I mean, my recovery journey, which have not ended yet. It's still ongoing, I believe so. So yeah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, Shahril. Thank you so much for sharing it. I think those are all really key things, can Shahril, in our recovery journey.
Essential, I would say, yeah.
Oh yeah, very essential. I think to really understand, you know, why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inflicted us with this condition in the first place is so important, and the lessons that we can take from it, and then sharing it across to other people so that, you know, people don't have to go through our hardships, really don't have to go through our struggles. They can just shortcut macam tu kan. So alhamdulillah, thank you very much, Shahril. Okay, Nasreen, I think same question to you as well. You know, what has helped you? What do you find, you know, helpful in this recovery process that you're going through, Nasreen?
I think same as everyone else. I feel like you guys covered mostly everything. Most importantly is knowledge. I would say I would agree with.
Yep. Knowledge.
Knowledge, and for me, what really helped me first of all was knowledge in Islam, because I felt pretty lost, and alhamdulillah, with this bipolar, it actually brought me to a better path. I would say I'm still learning, but it's a better path than I was before. So it's also a blessing in disguise.
Alhamdulillah.
So yeah, just trying to be a better Muslim every day. That helps me. The Quran helps me a lot. I just don't know why. Like, the Quran has always been there, but when you really get into it, it just solves everything. Sometimes you're just really stressed and you're crying on the sujood, and you open a page and it's just like perfectly a message for you. Besides from your spiritual knowledge about mental health, I've been going to a couple of therapies, and they teach you about CBT, cognitive distortions, and you also recommended me dialectical behavioral therapy. And these things, I feel like, really help you recognize your behavior to prevent yourself from going overboard, because what I'm aiming for right now is not to achieve the highs and lows, because it's apparently going to happen, but to just control it better. and
Manage it, right?
yep, to manage it better and to just not have psychosis anymore. Because I think I had about 3 or 4 psychoses in my life for the past 7 years. And to get up from a psychosis is really difficult for me. It's almost traumatic. So to prevent that is better. So just having the highs and lows are kind of my aim right now. Aside from that, well, like I said, I love dancing. Usually I just dance in my room just to, release it. It just some movements, just to feel like you're actually, because sometimes you feel so disconnected from your body and yourself. So it feels good. It feels good. Yeah. Writing helps a lot too. Writing helps a lot. Reflection. And also eating healthy, though that's something I really have to work on as well. But I realize when I do eat healthy, it does help.
It does. Oh my God, it really does. It does. You're what you eat. We are what we eat.
So yeah, like I try to like cut down on meat, but I love it so much. But when I eat less meat, like it helps for some reason. Yeah. Right. So basically that's it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You know that one point you said about getting over when you go through psychosis period. Dr. Ellen Sachs, in one of her TED Talks, I've read a book and I like to hear her speak, but one of the things that she said, living with schizophrenia, having psychosis is it's a living nightmare, because you have a nightmare when you're asleep, but when you have psychosis, you're having that nightmare.
You are that nightmare.
You are that nightmare, exactly. Mashallah, that hit me hard, man. That was wow. Yeah, so you guys are heroes, I tell you. That's a lot to go through. Thank you, Nasreen, for sharing that. Okay, last question, Sister Eliza, back to you. Of course, we've got to know about coping mechanisms. So what are some effective coping mechanisms that you have been practicing till today?
Okay, so first things first, and please take this with a grain of salt. You should not do this, but I have a very extreme love-hate relationship with medication, and it leans more on the hate. So I feel very fake and artificial on medication, let's say that. So in my last very bad depressive episode, I was given some Xanax to just calm me down.
Yeah.
And it's like, just take it when you need. And I was like, I don't need it. Pew. But the thing is that at that point, I was crying in public, go to the supermarket, cry, walk down the street, cry, everything cry. So whatever it is, it was just crying all the time. And I couldn't take it.
Yeah.
So I mean, of course, those internal constant du'as started to come, right? And I think a lot of us who come, crawl to the religion through our mental health challenges will start to have this period of constant du'as, because you just want to get out of it so much. And at that time when I'm doing the constant du'as, I'm crying all the time I have no idea. I couldn't stop it. The class that came to me through a friend, I was offered a seat because she couldn't go. And this is by the complete will of Allah, was a class on the morning and evening dhikr. And these morning and evening dhikr, once you start to recite them, I mean, you have to go through the class, you have to understand, why you're doing it, but it's for protection. The summary is for protection and for the mercy of Allah to be with you all day and then all night. And so I went to this class and I started practicing it, and I found that some of these dhikr they are the medication. They are absolutely the medication. The words, you say it in Arabic and then you read it in English. Right. That is what saved me, and it's still saving me today. I cannot go without the morning and evening dhikr. I know that Allah is with me is saving me, is showering me with that mercy. So it's that morning, evening adhkar, that set that I haven't memorized all of them, but the ones that I've chosen to memorize, that is my medication. I haven't been, you know, medicated or anything since. Not at all, not at all. Only the morning, evening adhkar. But not only that, on top of that, of course, we rely on Allah. We have that tawakkul and we do the dhikr and the remembrances. But then we have to also do other things, right? We have to put in our effort in other ways as well. So the other things that I'm doing is, first one, still support system. I have that 1 or 2 friends where I can go back to and ask, am I thinking straight? I'm not sure if I'm thinking straight, you know? It's just someone that you can go to and they accept you completely for who you are, you know, and they know that you're going through something, and sometimes your brain just, you know, it just retaliates, you know? So those 1 or 2 people that I can go to, and, you know, sometimes they can be gentle, and other times they know when to give that tough love and just be like, you stop it now.
Yeah.
Stop it now. You know, this is crazy talk, you know, and so you can be like, oh, okay, this is not normal. And then you can adjust yourself.
I know.
Yeah. So I'm so grateful for those 1 or 2 people that I can go to and do that. And then aside from that, just 3 more things, because I just want to mention, because it's like a combination of things.
Yeah, it's a lot of things.
It's always a combination of things. I find that animal therapy is wonderful for me.
Yeah.
I've never had pets in my life. And then Allah sent me this lost pet, this stray cat, to love and to take care of. And she happened to have 3 kittens inside her, which I didn't know about at all. But to be able to shower them with love, and then to see them receiving that love with gratefulness, like when they close their eyes and they're just like, oh yeah, pet me, you know, it just feels so good. So, I mean, I'm reminded that I can love.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm reminded that I can love. And when they come and they, you know, ask for the petting, it's like, I do deserve to be loved. And something that one of those 2 people said to me is like, because I used to tell them that, you know, I'm always asking Allah to send angels to come hug me and to be with me, because I don't have anyone with me, right? I'm a foreigner in Malaysia. And so she noted, you know, Aliza, it's so beautiful how Allah sent his other creations to love you so much. And I was just like, my cats, you know? So the animal therapy is really working for me. And I wanted to also, you had mentioned you were interested in how I'm dealing with the CPTSD.
Yep.
And this is new. And this was taught by a therapist, that every time I'm triggered now, I have to ask myself, what is the meaning behind that emotion or that trigger?
Yeah.
And it took me a really long time to understand, what do you mean? What does it mean? I don't know. What does it mean? What is it supposed to mean? So I kept asking him, well, can you give an example of what am I supposed to think of? And he was like, no, because it has to come from you.
From you.
Yeah. So I was like, what does that mean? What give meaning to the emotion? Okay, so basically, and I think this can help others as well if you have like a mood journal. So I'm just going to explain it. So when you're triggered, for example, if you have anxiety and you're in traffic and suddenly you're like, oh my God, my head's going to explode and my car is going to explode and everything's going to collapse, right? So you know, some of the meaning. So basically you can remove yourself, as though you're looking at yourself now, and you're looking at yourself and you're looking around and you're thinking, okay, what is going on in this environment and inside of this person that is making them that way? So the meaning could be that, you know, when you're in traffic, you know, you have a certain pressure, or you start to think of certain things, or or maybe you're even claustrophobic, or there's some trigger inside there, you know, or maybe someone has cut you off. So the meaning is that you don't like it when people take advantage of you. Or the meaning could be that, you know, you like things to be orderly, you know? So you put these meanings so that you understand where the emotion is coming from, where the trigger is coming from. And that helps, because the next time those feelings come up, you can think, okay, what is it? And then that will help you, if not maybe it won't go away immediately, but it helps you get rid of the emotion much faster.
Right.
Yeah. And of course, I'm sure other people are going to talk. I'm just going to mention it. I'm not going to talk about it, but the whole self-love, positive talk, this kind of thing, that totally helps as well. I'm sure the others will talk about that.
Yep, definitely. Thank you. Thank you very much,
Alhamdulillah.
Eliza. Okay, Aisha, same question. Coping mechanisms that have helped you in your journey, inshallah.
I have two. I have one short term. I have long term. So short terms, meditation, breathing technique, grounding technique has helped me a lot of times. Talk it out. You know, when the intrusive thoughts like flooding your head, and just talking helps, and ask for help. Because when I first started my journey, I don't know how to ask for help. Especially I am the eldest in my family, so it is natural for me not to get help and selesaikan semua benda by just myself. So asking for help is actually a very good coping mechanism that I have. Bila kena intrusive thoughts, when the thoughts flooding, our mind dia akan scattered tau. So what I do is I make a list. So I make a list, and then I go one by one. So kalau dalam kepala kita, dia thoughts tu dia akan berlega-lega, kita pun tak tahu nak handle mana satu dulu. And so I make a list.
Yep.
And also embrace. So whatever you're feeling, you embrace the feeling. Learn to be okay with not being okay. And then because sometimes we get very hard on ourselves. So kita lupa untuk embrace those feelings, because feelings tu kalau bila kita tolak dia lagi nak datang dengan kita. So embrace it, terima benda tu, accept that we are sad, accept that we are tired, those things. And long term, I've been taking care of my boundaries. I think that's the most important thing, because if I tak jaga boundaries, I think sampai sekarang pun it's going to be very hard for me to, bila I masuk depressive mode, my boundaries go here and there. Taking care of my boundaries, my sleeping habits, and also developing a strong support system. So I think that's my coping mechanism.
Definitely. Thank you very much, Aisha. I think it's so important to highlight that the boundaries are very important. Also, when you talked about breathing techniques, grounding techniques, because I think that, especially those of you that don't go through mental health challenges, you might think that, how does a breathing technique even work? How does a grounding technique even work? But let me tell you, it can be very effective. It can be so helpful, especially when you go through panic attacks or you feel so overwhelmed. All these things really, really is so effective. And even when, you're a normal person without a mental health disorder, but we all go through mental health challenges, right? So, when you're feeling stressed at work, for example, doing breathing technique can be so helpful to calm yourself, and grasp everything that is going around you and make you, focus better and not be so reactive, because we're very reactive individuals. When something happens, we tend to respond really fast without thinking first. And so these things are really helpful, I feel. So you might want to try it out as well. Thank you very much, Aisha, for that.
I want to highlight something. Okay, this coping mechanism is not something that you can learn overnight. So I being in crisis team, so I've a lot of peers come to me and they said that it's very hard for them to apply those breathing techniques, those grounding techniques, when you have panic attacks, when you have anxiety attacks or things like that. But I think it's really important for you to know that it's not an overnight thing. So you have to practice. I learned this for 1 year, 2 years, I think, before I really get to use it when I have
to master
episodes.
it, right?
Yes, true.
Yeah, very, very true. Aisha, thank you so much. I know it feels like it doesn't work. It feels so hard, but really it works. And it takes a lot of practice. You're right, Aisha. Thank you. Okay, Shahril, back to you. Same question. some coping mechanisms that you are currently practicing managing your anxiety and depression.
I just want to echoing Aisha. You know, she's right. The grounding is you have to practice. You know, because I've been doing that since 2019. You know, after my episode, so I try to learn it. And you know me, Kanita, I was traveling a lot.
Oh yeah.
You know, can you imagine when I was you know, broke down in Berlin, in Dubai and all that. You know, no one was with me, and then so I have to call someone, and then I was cheering here and there, blah blah blah. So grounding is it takes time, but it really works. You see, yeah. So I mean, Alhamdulillah, so far for me at least, you know. But it takes time. Yes, you're right. So a part of that, I guess, for me personally, of course, running is my therapy.
Oh yeah.
You know, every day, every single day, Alhamdulillah, kalau sihat. Similarly to journaling and reading, of course, prayers and du'as and meditation help. Ask again, according to Ayesha, ask for help, support, assistance from friends or a professional. You know, that's really important. Establish healthy boundaries. This is what I'm trying to also establish this. You know, tell our family member or friends, I need to be alone. I'm not angry with you at this point of time, but I cannot talk to you. But can we talk later or at night or tomorrow, perhaps? Then I'll be better. You know, at that I'll be better in that state of mind, lah. You know, so I'm trying to establish that as well. If let's say I encounter any episode or triggers, and another point is actually walk away. Leave a situation that is causing you stress or triggers you. This is I always done this anyway. So yeah, I mean, this is very helpful for me, at least, you know.
Yeah.
And work on managing your daily life better. Meaning, you know, turn off your social media alerts. At least I don't have social media so much. So yeah, no reading emails, work emails on the weekend and all that. It helps. You see, just focus on your priority. You know, perhaps your family, your engagement with family and friends and all that. Just focus on that. Just focus on yourself. You know, it goes back to Eliza mentioned about self-care and all that. And lastly, as cliche as it sounds, this is for me again after I had my episode in 2018. Learn to have hope, Kanita. So I always wonder, the skies at night and how dark it is. You know how dark it gets. Does the darkness stay forever? The next day, the sun rises and shines brightly, right? So it is worth waiting for the sunshine. So don't lose hope, but put our hope to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Because I know for a fact, I'm talking based on my experience. I have given up. You know this, Anita. I have given up before. So hope is something that I anchor now and moving forward. You know, even in our darkest time, you know, Allah has never left us from our side. He'll never leave us behind. Trust Him. You can hide, and no one in this world can know that pain you are going through. You know, even myself. You know, but you can never hide from Him. He sees, He hears, He knows everything. You know, it is painful, but see this as a blessing in which Allah Subhanahu wa Taala give you, so that you can go back to Him. Failure, pain, sorrow, grief, loss, all these negative feelings give nothing to a person but a step closer to be a better person. You know, at least for me, I believe so. I truly believe now that what have happened to me personally, it was destined for me. Orang cakap apa? Redha kan? It was written for me that I walk along this path, but not to crash me, but to make me better. A process we all have to go through. Wallahu alam.
Shahril, you know, that's such a beautiful message, you know, because I remember Sheikh Hamza Yusuf in one of his talks, he was crying when he was saying this, but he said that no matter what you have gone through, what you have done in your life, whatever past sins you might have, you know, Allah is the most merciful. Go back to Him, you know, turn to Him no matter what. And I think it's such an important message, because sometimes we feel, will Allah even forgive us? Will He accept us? All these things running through our mind. And I think this is such an important reminder for all of us. And I always say this, where whatever religion you might be, whatever faith, that you have and what you believe in, go back to religion, go back to the concept of God, because it will give you that hope. It will give you guidance. It will provide you a way out. And this is so important. And especially those of you that are going through suicidal thoughts, ideation, or contemplating suicide, only in, being grounded in the faith of Allah, will hinder you from actually doing this unimaginable act. And there's always hope. You're not alone. We're all here. And, I really hope, guys, with whatever that all of you have shared, it will make one person choose to live. This is what I hear all the time from, people following our page or people listening to our forums and talks, that when they listen, they find a way out. They actually choose to live. You guys may think that, it's not creating an impact or anything, but trust me, from this work that Miasa has been doing, I know it right now, as people are listening, it is changing lives, inshallah. So thank you. Nasreen, for you as well, some effective coping mechanisms that you use or practice.
Okay. Well, I would say right now I try to listen more.
Oh yeah.
I always been like so I try to listen more in every aspect. Try to accept people's opinion, especially the people that I trust. And I also am trying to. First of all, I really admire Sister Aliza. She's just implementing the morning and night zikrs. Without medication, I really wish I could. Like, I actually tried that, and I ended up in the hospital. So I tried without medication about 3 times. So right now I'm just trying to listen to my doctor to make sure I take medication every single day. That's one of my that's how I cope, to listen and follow a routine. And what else do I do?
Please take your medication. Remember I said, like, don't follow me, it's just only me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry?
please take your medication. Like what I said in the beginning, it's only me.
Don't follow me, she said.
Yeah, don't follow me. It's just,
it's
was just only me. Yeah. But with bipolar, it's the chemical imbalance, so you need that medication. Yeah, you need it. Please take your medication.
Yeah. I learned the hard way. I remember going to the hospital one day, and I literally told the whole hospital, I don't need anyone but God. And they were like, oh my God. And then I went to the prayer room. I was like, let me just go and pray first. And as I sujood, they injected me and then they tied me up. So it was really traumatizing.
Oh yeah, definitely. We don't condone coercion at Miasa at all.
But yeah, so I'm just trying to listen more, and I'm trying to actually accept myself. And I feel like I'm around so many, you guys are so inspirational. Like, I'm in a motivational talk. It's so inspiring. I'm just still trying to come out as a bipolar and accepting it. So that's how
and that takes a lot of bravery and courage, Nasreen, that in itself. MashaAllah. I mean, to me, all of you guys coming on board is already a huge step, and everything else is a bonus, really. Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much, Nasreen. Okay, we have tons of questions, guys, but we don't have much time. Yeah, go ahead, Aliza.
One more thing, sorry. There's one thing that I forgot to mention, in that sometimes when you're starting your mental health journey, no one can say the right thing. Like, everyone says the wrong thing, and you don't want to listen to anyone. No one can say the right thing. But the thing is that Allah doesn't talk back to you, not in a way that triggers you. So if you're listening and you're out there and you just can't take it anymore, because once you get to that point, it's like, I can't take it anymore. I got to do something, you know, this is Allah calling you back. Just like what Brother Shahril, Sis Nasreen, Sis Ayesha, Sis Anita has been saying all along. This is your call back to Allah. And please, please keep this in mind. I mean, this is the preventative part. And I talk about this a lot, not only with mental health, but for people who are considering becoming Muslim. So people who are considering becoming a revert, because we have a lot of pain and a lot of trauma in our lives, whether we accept it or recognize it or not. We go through a lot of challenges, but the goal and the reward of Islam is Jannah. And Jannah is where you will be like super. You will have no more pain. You will have no more tears. You will have no disease. You will not have to deal with all of this mess. There is nothing there but happiness waiting for you.
Yep.
That is your reward. That is what we want. Because I think of even myself, the number of tears that I've cried and the injustices that I feel have been done to me. In Jannah, all of that is gone. Everyone will be good to you. They will know what to say to you. You will be normal. You will be happy. And that's what we all want. But the thing is that before we get there, we have to hang on in this dunya, in this world first. And to hang on in this world is to put some effort, just some effort. And that's where the reaching out, asking for help, learning and listening and applying all of these, you know, coping mechanisms and medications, that's our effort. And inshallah, everything is by the permission of Allah anyway. Whether the medication works or not is by Allah. Whether the self-care works or not is by Allah. He just wants to see your effort. So just, if you're on the fence or you're just starting, keep going forward. Make the choice, come back to Allah, ask Him to help you, and the reward will be right in front of you.
MashaAllah, beautiful. Thank you very much, Sister Eliza, for that. Nasreen, do you want to add anything?
Out of words.
I know.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sister Eliza. Shahril, do you want to add on?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, okay. All right. Okay, so I'll go to the questions now. Just a couple, since we don't have much time. Okay, I think this is very interesting. This is for Shahril. As a master's student interested in body image, I'm curious when Shahril said he had people who reminded him he still looks good. Might be insightful to know if that has to do with body image, and if it does, to hear this struggle from a male men's perspective. Oh yeah, true, because body image is usually woman, female. So yeah, so she's interested to know your perspective being a male.
Well, I guess, well, I was different physically back then. You see, well, I'm not as, how do you say it, Anita? I'm not as skinny as this. I think I lost quite a number of kilos. I think about more than 10 kilos.
That's a lot.
During that journey, it was really bad. But I guess for my colleagues at the office and all that, I did not really open up to them, but they, I guess because of the awareness of the mental health is quite good at this point of time, even a couple of years back. So they trying to be more supportive in that sense, you know, even as to a male coworker, you know, they know for a fact that I'm having some difficulties or some challenges on my personal basis and all that, but I don't really show it. I perform very well, alhamdulillah. I came to work, you know, like everyone else. It's just that my physical appearance was different, you know. Even until now, I trying to gain my weight. It's not happening. Anyway, so yeah. I guess that's how important of the knowledge of people to be. To get to know about mental health. They don't really judge you. They know that, you know, what happened to this guy, you know, suddenly getting smaller and smaller, or getting slimmer and slimmer from day to day.
Yeah.
But they respect me. They know if let's say I need help, I will definitely reach out. But they just being there and trying to be, again, sportive, or I would say understanding of the situation. Yeah, given that I'm a man, you know, that even hard for them to approach, or to ask me to open up and all that. Yeah.
I think it's so interesting, Shahril, you know, when we talk about body image and all these things, because I remember when I was struggling, I was in sweatpants and shirt every single day. I looked horrible. I was horrendous.
Sorry,
And,
I
you
saw
know,
you. I thought you were very stylish in your Medina sweatshirt and sweatpants. I saw you. I saw her. Okay, sorry.
that's not stylish. I was in those kind of outfit every day. But anyway, and you know what happened was, after I think 5 months of every single day wearing that, my aunt came up to me and she said, Anita, look, we know you're not well, but it doesn't mean you have to also not dress well. And I think that was a big, you know, like, turning point for me, because I didn't realize that, right? Because every morning, you know, I didn't feel waking up. I didn't know what to do. You know, I didn't have any motivation. And so I was just, you know, get up, shower, whatever, just wear, grab whatever. It was always the same thing that I was wearing, and didn't even match. It was like a bright pink sweater with a, you know, yellow pants, for example, that kind of thing. You know, I didn't even bother about it. So it's so interesting. Even, you know, when you talk to the females, body image wasn't even something that I cared about. Couldn't even, you know, take care of myself.
Couldn't be bothered,
Couldn't be
right?
bothered,
Yeah.
right?
Well, yeah. Well, Anita, talking about that, it triggered me as well. There's a certain point, at that moment, three years back, people thought that I was on drugs, because I was so skinny,
yes.
you see. So people was asking, are you okay? Are you on drug or something? You know, that judgment, yes, it happened. That's the reality. So that's how, you know, all this awareness, all this knowledge about mental health is very important. Yes, it triggered me, of course, but it's how it goes back to you yourself, how you manage your response or your reaction. Like you said, we always react, you know. So better, you know, it's just a matter of how you manage your response or your reaction to that particular situation. Yeah.
Thank you, Shahril. Okay, next question, Sister Aliza. How do you handle? Okay, so how do you handle it when when in your mind, you have all these self-blame and it keeps playing in your head? How do you overcome that?
Okay, so this one is really hard. Most of us do have this self-blame and negative self-talk. I guess the first step is to actually question that thought. Is it actually real? That's actually the first step. Is that thought actually true or real? Because if you're saying you're so dumb, but you've just achieved, you know, a presentation to the CEO, I don't think you're dumb. Yeah. And then, so the first one is the question, but the second one, maybe I'll just give two. The second one is the one that really changed my life, is that when I started to talk myself as a friend, you know, these things that I would say to myself, I would say, if I was talking to my friend, would I ever say something like that to my friend? You know, would I ever say to my friend, oh my God, what you just said was so stupid, you know? Or would I say, you know, you are just not good enough to do this. Are you crazy? Why are you even trying? Would I ever say that to my friend? And the answer every single time was, heck no, I would never say that to a friend. So why am I saying it to myself? So it's that trigger to just think, to talk to yourself as your friend and talk to yourself more nicely, because once you start seeing yourself as a friend, you're able to actually be more yourself, because I do believe everyone is motivating, everyone wants to be a good friend, everyone wants to say positive things to their friends. So you're able to actually finally say good positive things to yourself, and since you're saying it to yourself, it also reinforces it inside that, oh, actually it's been inside me all along, I just couldn't see it, you know. So that's how I deal with it. But definitely removing myself and talking to myself as a friend, that was life-changing for me when I realized how poorly I was treating myself. Yeah,
that's a very good point. And then I think just to share as well, for me it's more about having that sounding board. So it's my husband, so I would talk to him, and he would reassure me, like, that thought is crazy, that's a crazy thought, or it's a crazy talk that you're saying. So I think, Shahril, especially now that you're married, congratulations. Having a spouse, it can be very, very helpful as well, to help you manage these thoughts. Alhamdulillah.
Okay. Oh, yeah, sorry, one more thing. I just remembered, I had made a post a while ago about this, and it was quite popular, so I'll just repeat it, is that whenever you have self-defeating thoughts also, you can actually change the vocabulary inside of yourself by adding the word yet to the end. There's actually a few words that you can add, but you can use the word yet. So, oh my God, I'm so fat and I can't lose weight yet. So it makes it into a process, an attainable process that, okay, I can't do it now, but inshallah I'll do it, or during Ramadan, oh my God, I can't khatam Quran, I'm so bad, everyone else is so good, I can't khatam Quran yet, okay, but I'm on my way, make it so that little word yet, if you're able to kind of get into the practice of that, then that helps a lot as well.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you, Sister Eliza, for that. Okay, next question is for Aisha. Aisha, how do you manage Ramadan with your depression?
How do I manage Ramadan? Alhamdulillah, this Ramadan has actually been great for me. So I saw a question just now, if it's Ramadan that I can't eat.
Yeah.
So one of my coping mechanisms is finding the food that I like. So yeah, one of the things is sleeping. The few days that in this Ramadan that I feel low, so I took some time for myself. I just sleep the whole day, and breaking the fast with great foods. Yeah. So far, for now, it's okay for me. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Thank you very much. Okay, last question for Nasreen. How do we make people who know about our condition, just because we seem normal, it doesn't mean that we have recovered? Well, such an important question.
How do we make people
who know about your condition, just because we're normal, we seem normal, or we look normal, but we're actually still struggling, because facade-wise, we seem normal, right? But we're actually really struggling in the inside. So how do we make people understand this?
I think people will never understand if you don't tell them. So that's why I feel it's really important to open up. And that's actually a message that I'm telling myself too, because I don't really open up easily. And I feel like it's too much of a burden for me to keep it all in. It's too hard. So it's just easy to just open up. And if they're the right people, like if they're actually your supporters, your real friends, your real people, they would support you. They would understand.
Yeah, I think that sometimes people tend to forget. I think, even for me, like my family member, or, my staff, although every day I hustle, some days are pretty bad for me. But, it's just because I am able to manage it better, but it doesn't mean that I don't struggle. I struggle so much during the first MCO, oh my God. I still get panic attacks. For those of you that don't know, I've gotten several panic attacks doing talks as well, which is really frightening at the same time, but alhamdulillah, able to manage that. So yeah, I think what Nasreen said, absolutely true. If you don't open up, if you don't share, people can't know, because they can't see it. especially if it's a mental health condition. There's no way, unless of course you start regressing, then there's going to be those behavioral, signs and all. So we're not going to be able to take any more questions, guys, since it's already 1 o'clock, but I want to go to the game round. Okay, so let's do that. So this is the fun part. So we'll start with Sister Aliza. Okay, 3 words to describe yourself before you had CPTSD and depression, and today.
Oh, before I had it or before the diagnosis?
Before the diagnosis and now, today.
Okay.
3 words
Okay.
to describe
So
yourself.
before was lost, damaged, and fake.
Wow.
And then,
okay.
yeah. And then after is understanding, empathy, and healing.
Yay! Bravo! Love that. Thank you, Sister Eliza. Okay, next, Aisha. Describe having a mental health condition in 3 words.
Okay, I would say a gift, though my younger self wouldn't agree with this. I always feel like it is a curse or something like that. But yeah, because of my mental health condition, I met a lot of great people. I learned to be a better person, and I am more empathetic. So empathetic, a gift, and closer to God, I would say.
MashaAllah, alhamdulillah.
So yeah, that's the
Thank you
3
very
words.
much, Sister Aisha. Okay, Shahril. Describe in 3 words what you have learned with this condition.
Grateful, of course, number 1, reflection, and I echoing to Miss Eliza, empathy. Yeah.
Yay! I like how empathy is so key. It is. It's a great gift. Great gift, mashallah, alhamdulillah. Okay, Nasreen. 3 words to describe your journey.
Okay. My whole journey, right?
Yep.
Okay. Extraordinary, because there's a lot of weird things that happen. Roller coaster.
Yep.
And also humbling.
Oh yes, it is. MashaAllah. This is so awesome. We'll share it on the infographics. Okay, guys. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. So last question before I close. Message of hope. From Sister Aliza, Aisha, Shahril, and Nasreen.
I think I already gave my message of hope earlier, but I'll add on to it. Yeah, I really hope that, the mental health community actually becomes a larger ecosystem that includes the society at large, because this is, the education and the awareness is starting to come. That's why a lot of us are more comfortable in coming out now, including me.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. But it's not only for the peers, for the people who are going through the challenges, but also we are looking at the caretakers, like what Brother Shahril was talking about quite a lot, the support system, the caretakers, and alhamdulillah, Miasa also is doing a great, great job with that. But beyond that is the society at large. You have the society at large also has a responsibility towards actually accepting the information and opening your mind to understand that this is a real part of humanity. And especially for the Muslims, like what I was saying before, this is a part of our tradition. And it is, if we think about it, one of the things that the Quran does, and I think this is why Nasreen feels so good when she's with the Quran, is because the Quran is supposed to be a healing. It's supposed to be a shifa. And it's also ruqya. It actually, it's for the body, it's for the soul, it's also for everything else, right? Yep. So when we are grounded in the religion of Allah, we must accept that the minds and the hearts and the emotions, all these things are there and connected, and it's not abnormal to be sad, because the Prophet ﷺ also was sad for a whole year. And if you don't call that depression, I don't know what you would call it, because it's a year, it's prolonged, right? So, and there were other also companions who went through their own, struggles and came to the Prophet for advice. And he would advise them. He's the walking Quran once again. So it is the religion of Allah that will give you this grounding and will give you this peace. You will understand yourself and others more. But the society at large, just getting back to my original point, you have to be a part of this ecosystem. Also, because you never know when you're the one who's going to have the anxiety. You're the
Yep.
one who is going to have that stress at work or at home, and
Yep.
you're confused about what am I supposed to do now. It will hit everybody. Basically, it hits everybody whether you know it or not. So please, we have to make an ecosystem of this. It's not just the community. It is the whole society that has to come together.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sister Aliza. Thank you so much for all your insights and inputs. Aisha.
So, well, I hope someday that it won't be awkward anymore to talk about mental health condition.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, to tell people that you're struggling, and I hope people will be more open to discuss about it, like how we discuss physical illness today. And I also hope that after this, people are inspired and brave to unlock their story. Yeah.
Thank you for using that hashtag. Shahril. Go ahead.
Well, trial and turbulence are part of puzzle of life, you see.
Yep.
We can escape them, but we can learn how to deal with it, how to manage it. Well, as I continue fighting, I am truly grateful for you guys standing by my side, you know, for this mental health initiative or engagement. Our global community is being tested, you know, as never before, as we speak. You see, mental health condition is not a personal failure. If there is failure, it is in the way we have responded to people with mental disorders. Now more people than ever know that physical and mental health are linked to each other and to well-being of individuals. It's interrelated. It's not separated, right? So Miasa and any other mental health NGOs provide a timely reminder that mental health is essential and that those living with mental health issues are deserving of care, understanding, compassion, and pathways to help, to hope, healing, recovery, and fulfillment. You know, after all, that is what we all want and need now more than ever, you see, with the current pandemic, with the current situation, for ourselves, for our loved ones, for our communities, and of course, for the whole world. Yeah. And I would like to also reiterate, you know, if you know somebody who is struggling, help them reach out, learn about the resources available, you know, in your own community or your own area, you know, and more than anything, let people who are suffering in silence know that recovery is possible. They are not alone. There's hope. Again, I'm using the hope word. There's hope, there's possibility. I pray that through our pain, our failures, and all the challenges we face, especially now, we find His Allah guidance hovering upon us, that in His mercy, we also find the ease that we need in our heart, and that Allah grant us a mind and a heart that sees what is good in every situation, so that we can bear every problem, every trial with patience, tolerance, along with undenying faith in Him. Inshallah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Always having a good opinion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah. I mean, thank you very much. Nasreen?
Firstly, I'd like to say thank you again to everyone. And my message to everyone listening, I hope everyone with mental health can come together and empower each other, because really when you connect, that's when you can empower each other better than just being alone. And just remember to have faith and make sure your faith is stronger than your fear.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you very much, Nasreen. Oh, yeah, Sister Eliza.
Yeah, so yeah, I was very high level just now, but I would just want to address the people who are viewing. That's why I'm coming close, because I want to look in their eyes. Okay, so for you there who's, you know, watching this and you're still suffering in silence, like what Brother Shahril had said, for you who's on the fence, you are not broken. You are not broken. Know that there's so many of us who understand what you're going through. We might not, know exactly what you're going through, but we have our own challenges as well. You are not broken. You are not alone. all you have to do is make that decision, that small decision that today I'm going to tell one person that I trust and I'm going to reach out so that I can get help for myself. That's
Yes.
all. You don't have to explain anything to anyone. All you have to do is know that you're not broken and that you want the help. So just seek for it. Please open up, you know, unlock your story, hashtag. But also, you know, if you don't know where to go, just go. You're on the Miasa Facebook already. Just contact them and they will be able to get you the assistance that you need. Okay. So loving all of the panelists today. I felt every one of your journeys. Like I didn't show it, but whenever you talked, like my heart was like, So love all of you, love everyone who's viewing this. And I hope that this message can go far and wide, not only in Malaysia, but all outside, because we need this for the whole
Yes,
world.
we do. Sister Eliza, I knew you were going to say that. You wanted to say unlock your story, right? It's that perfectionist in you. See? All right. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching, for tuning in. I really, really, truly hope it was beneficial, that you get great takeaways from this. Thank you so much, everyone. Sister Eliza, thank you so much, Aisha, Brother Shahril, and Sister Nasreen, for all your insights, for all your inputs, for sharing, you know, all these, you know, candid experiences. You know, I truly learned so much, and actually, I wanted to cry many times during this whole session. And I feel that it was so empowering, very inspiring. And you know, I always say this, you know, I've met so many good people in this journey with Miasa, and it has been such a rewarding experience. You know, learning from so many good people, you know, from all your stories, and I have learned to be kinder because of that. You know, through my own struggles, of course, Allah inflicted me upon it, with, you know, this condition, you know, all the empathy and everything, but really just to be kind, because, you know, everyone struggles with something. You know, just doesn't mean if we don't see it, the person is not going through, you know, any kind of hardship. You know, this dunya that we're in is a test. So obviously everyone is going through, you know, something. And, you know, being in this pandemic of COVID-19, obviously, you know, like Shahril, you know, you were saying, I think that a lot of people now have at least a glimpse of, you know, mental health issue, you know, because we are all impacted one way or another, which is a great blessing, I feel. And of course, it gives us, you know, people like us a lot of opportunity to talk about it in a big way. So this is the part where I'm very, very thankful for. And hopefully all of us coming together, we're able to really, guys, reduce stigma, take away the shame from it, but really normalizing this conversation so that people are no longer afraid. People are no longer ashamed to seek that help that they need, you know, Sister Eliza, like what you're saying, because you're not alone. You know, recovery is possible. Any mental health condition, even how chronic, how severe you might think it is, even people with chronic schizophrenia, let me tell you, recovery is possible. You just need to go for that treatment. You need the help, and you have to have that support system. Inshallah, you will be able to recover and lead quality and normal lives like everyone else, inshallah. Okay, so let's all work together, help one another, be more of an inclusive society, because we're all affected, we're all linked, we're all part of one soul. So when one soul hurts, we all feel it. So when we help one person, you know, all of us will feel helped, inshallah. So thank you so much, everyone. Take care, stay safe. I would like to end this with wabillahi tawfiq wal hidayah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah
Thanks,
khair.
everyone.
Thank
Assalamualaikum.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Stay safe.